Hi everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, with my thoughts, opinions, reviews of the comic books that I picked up on Wednesday. Now, it actually took me a little bit of time to work myself up to doing this video this week, because this week's stack of comics didn't exactly wow me. They were okay, but nothing really just stood out, was amazing. I enjoyed my reads, but there was just something not there. But at the same time, I really want to try hard to say just nice things about my comics this week, and I'm going to try my very, very best. Issue 9 of Umbral came out this week, and yes, I'm usually quite harsh critic of this, with its kind of cliched high fantasy or high dark fantasy concept. But the thing is, despite all the kind of obvious tropes it follows, like a magical artifact, a kind of innocuous character that is going to come to the fore and save everybody, the kind of evil demons that are after said magical artifact to use for their own nefarious devices, characters of ambiguous morality. The thing is, Umbral actually does it very well, despite the cliched nature of it. And is that such a bad thing? If you enjoy reading a certain kind of story, then even if you've read it before, there's always going to be some sort of kind of twist or something that gives it just a little bit of spark of originality. I think for Umbral, it's actually the artwork that is the great thing about Umbral. It's Mitten, Boyd and Muller have been doing an amazing job. You know, pencils, colours, inks, the whole lot makes up this kind of very dark and kind of foreboding fantasy landscape. Inside the issue, there are some interesting kind of plot lines going through here. Rascal, poor girl, she's very tired on this long journey and she keeps falling asleep, but the fact is, when she falls asleep, she enters into the Umbral, and we have one of its denizens trying to lure her, trying to see things that aren't there, making her doubt her companions. We also have, we had it at the last of the last issue, where she meet these woodling characters, who may or may not be all they seem. They escort them to where they think they want to go, which is Sunbar, but is that really where they're headed to? And someone is still lurking in the shadows, killing off the Red Guard that are trying to catch up with Rascal, to capture her and retrieve the magical artifact. I'm going along with it. It's a fun fantasy adventure. I'm getting something out of it. I must be, because I'm still getting it. Now, we have the one that's going to be a tough one for me to be kind about. It is Justice League Dark. It's its one shot, its lenticular cover, Future's End, 5 years after said event. And I think most people's complaint about this is, and it's certainly mine, is we're never going to see these stories happen. We're never going to see the run-up to them. But the thing is, what happened before this, how they got to this place, is the most interesting thing about these Future's End 5 years in the future books. This one alone, it's like, why has Zatanna become so dark? Why is she kind of cloistered away from everyone else? How did she get that scar down her face? How in the world did she end up partnering up? And by partnering up, I mean getting it on, clearly, with Etrigan the Demon. What was the scenario that made Zatanna take the House of Mystery into this in-between place? Why can she not get back out? And where's John Constantine? Where's Swamp Thing in all this? They were part of the team. How was Cassandra, what was her name? Cassandra Kraft. How did she end up joining the team? These are the stuff that interest me, but we're never going to find out. These might as well be called Elseworld stories. It's just, there's just something not there about these books. I'm trying to be kind about it, and I gotta say, I can't even be kind really about the artwork. It isn't the greatest here. You've just really got to make up your kind of, I suppose, use your own imagination, make your own stories. That's about as kind and nice as it can be about this title this week. Issue 25 of Batman Eternal, and I have to say I always seem to be kind of at odds with many of my fellow YouTube commentators on Batman Eternal, because every issue I seem to like, the others don't seem to, and the ones I dislike or don't get anything out of, everyone else seems to get something out of it. So which way are we going to go with this issue? I have to say I really enjoyed this issue, but for reasons that may not be so obvious on the printed page, though, you know, people who have been reading Batman for a while since the New 52 started must get what is going on here. In the pages, you know, Bard finally gets his own way, and he can now declare martial law. Julia is kind of getting to grips with the Batcave, and you can see her frustration and her anger at not being able to do what she thinks she can do. What else? There's some nice humorous bits between Red Robin and Harper kind of sparring off each other. I like their dynamic between them. I sincerely hope they use those two really well in future after Batman Eternal's finished. I don't necessarily want them to be kind of romantically linked, but I think there can be this kind of love-hate relationship between the two. We finally see Batman realising that Bard isn't the good guy here. He's been playing Batman for a fool. And this is kind of, again, my only little gripe about this issue of Batman Eternal. And this has happened so many times in the past, where what is clearly a trap, Batman goes in, you know, window first, you know, smashes through the window, hoping to bring down Bard, but you just know that is going to be a trap, and it makes Batman look stupid. Of course, we get the kind of hologram Hush confrontation between Batman, and that is, you know, kind of interesting and leading up and realising that, you know, this is a very kind of personal vendetta. It does lead me to think, well, again, you know, Batman hasn't been restarted in this New 52. There are certain stuff that is canon in, still in canon in the New 52, and it's difficult to know what is and what isn't. Is the events of the Hush storyline that we saw pre-52, is that all canon? And if so, does it really affect this story? For the life of me, I can't even remember how the end of Hush kind of concluded. So I don't know if he was, I can't remember if he was put in prison, or, you know, he was captured, or he escaped, or thought dead. I'm going to have to look that up. However, the thing that I loved the most about this particular issue is that in a kind of subtle, reading between the lines kind of way, this does reference back to a story previous to all this Batman Eternal. And I'm talking about Death of the Family, where Snyder broke our Bat family up, split them all off, left Batman alone, with the rest of the Bat family turning their back on him. Here, Snyder is building them back up. He is bringing this family back together again, the way they should be, working as a team. There is this wonderful family, fatherly motif, kind of metaphor going on in Batman Eternal this week. We've got kind of Alfred, who is still in his kind of fear-induced coma in the hospital, with Red Robin and Red Hood by his bedside. And he's the kind of, not grandfather, maybe kind of a cool uncle, but someone they certainly respect and consider as a family member. We've got Barbara Gordon, kind of so angry and annoyed and frustrated again that despite everything they went and did in Brazil, all the evidence that they collated that would get her father off, it hasn't done anything. And so she has, you know, there's a conversation with her father in prison over the phone. And then, of course, at the end, you have all the guys, I think it's all the guys, isn't it? It's Red Robin, or maybe Batgirl is there, and Red Hood coming to Batman's rescue, who is in essence their father. This is the father figure of them all. Great stuff. Not especially keen on the artwork by, who was it, R.M. Guerra. I felt the faces were very flat and expressionless, but no, there is no but, and I'm trying to be kind, but I didn't really like the art here. Saga issue 23, what a surprise this issue was. Again, it's another title that I'm quite harsh on of late, but only because I've enjoyed it so much from its inception, and I just wanted that momentum to build and build. And it wasn't so much that we were having a kind of rocky roller coaster ride, it was more that it was getting to be really bland and boring. However, these last couple of issues have ramped up the kind of action, the momentum, the storyline. I knew the split wasn't going to be the split. We have the kind of aftermath of the argument that Alana and Marco had. And the great thing about this is, and this is all credit to Brian K. Vaughan, is that he shows that, you know, couples do have arguments. Not everything is always, you know, we're a family, we're going to stick together, we love each other, we like each other, we're always going to get on. Couples, married or otherwise, you're going to have fights, but you've got to try and get beyond that. And despite Brian K. Vaughan throwing kind of temptation and anger and disappointment at these two characters, they realise their kind of mistakes, and they kind of want to kind of get back together, to kind of reconcile, to talk things out, to heal those kind of brief wounds. However, we've got a crazed robot janitor on the loose. He's doing more killing. He's doing more baby kidnapping. He even kidnaps the ship. And that is the impetus for the split. Brian K. Vaughan was never going to be that obvious. And I knew that from the moment that the poor little child Hazel said, this is the time my parents split. It wasn't going to be like that. It wasn't going to be so obvious. I loved Isabel's kind of takedown, but verbal takedown of Alana. Alana kind of being this self-pitying, oh woe is me, my life is so crap at the moment. And Isabel's like, excuse me, you do realise, you know, war has affected me, I'm dead. I just love the kind of the deadpan commentary by Isabel that really kind of ripped a bit out of Alana. So I was happy to see that. And yes, of course, we've got this crazed robot janitor taking Hazel now hostage, and off into space. They take the spaceship, but leaving Marco behind to confront, here comes Prince Robot. They've not yet met, if I remember rightly. I'm guessing we're going to see a showdown. Finally, we finish with It's Low. It's issue 3. It's another Rick Remender penned image title, and it's getting really good. I like this. It's not wow. It's not Rick Remender wow, but it's definitely Rick Remender doing good stuff. This title is this episode, this issue is basically bringing the mother and the son together via sex and suicide, but whatever it takes. It would appear that in this kind of far-flung future where we have had to escape to kind of the depths of the ocean to avoid being kind of burnt alive by the ever-blazing sun on the surface, that all the scientists, all the big thinkers, they've pretty much given up trying to find a way off the planet or finding some way to survive. Not long till oxygen will be all depleted. So what are we going to do? You know, what is humanity's last stand going to be? Let's have one long sex orgy. And this is what poor Mama Kane has to walk through to get to a person, I guess, of certain importance, because she needs the equipment, the resources, the manpower to go and retrieve this kind of satellite pod that has crash landed back down on the surface, which she hopes will have information on a hospitable planet that they can move to. And she may or may not have had to do something a little bit seedy to get that resource. Paul Marek, the son, he has been thrown in jail, and rather than face a kind of, I guess, a tribunal, a court of law, he just has given up on life now. He thinks he's at the bottom, so his only way out now is suicide. Fortunately, Mum comes in just in time and whisks him away in our kind of underwater sea craft to get to the surface and retrieve the pod. This is kind of a battle between hope and despair. And is humanity going to be saved by this one woman and her son? The best thing I love about this is Tacchini's artwork, and I never thought I'd say that. But from these wonderful building constructions to the kind of the way their costumes are, I love the style of these wetsuits that the mother and Marek are wearing. They're kind of a space age feel to them, but you know, they're being used underwater. And then of course there's all these vehicles, these crafts that are kind of going through the water, these submersibles. It all just looks fantastic. Tacchini's done a fantastic job kind of creating this underwater world, and it just feels right. So I tried to be nice about everything. Might have failed on one book, but it was pretty bad. But there we go. They are my thoughts and opinions and reviews for this week's set of comics. Did you get any of those? Did you think along the same lines as me? Let me know in the comments section below. If it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any more of my videos, and give me a big thumbs up for finally getting this video up. It took me a while. Until next week, have a great weekend. I'm hopefully going to buy some more comics tomorrow. Go for a good old back issue haul. Till then, bye bye.